الأمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. So if you're attending this class, inshallah, that means you are going to Hajj, or you are planning on going, or you're learning about the important obligation that we Muslims have. And Hajj is an obligation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ مَنِ اسْتَطَاعَ إِلَيْهِ سَبِيلًا. So Hajj is an obligation for the person who has istita'a, for the person who's able to go. This means that not every person is able to go. If you don't have the financial means, if you don't have the financial capability or the health, or there's a government restriction, then that means Hajj does not become wajib upon you. However, the moment Hajj becomes wajib upon you in your life, then you have to go. You have to try to go. And if, for example, Hajj became wajib upon me 5 years ago, then that means it remained wajib. So now I have to do it. Even if I'm unable to go now, it's still wajib upon me. It is still obligatory upon me. So this is why it's a very important issue. A lot of people, they take the Hajj lightly. They say, you know what, I'm not ready, or I don't want to go right now, I have work and all these things. But we have to try to make the time for it. And you have to try to fulfill that obligation. The hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, he says, "Man mata walam yahajj," the one who dies, and this person was able to go, and Hajj was wajib upon them, and they chose based on personal choice. They made the choice to go on a vacation, they made the choice to spend here and there, but they did not make the choice to go to Hajj. Then this person, when they're resurrected, there's a hadith from Rasulullah. He says, خُيِّرْ إِمَّا أَن يَكُونَ يَهُودِيًّا أَوْ نَصْرَانِيًّا. Meaning the person, they will tell them, Hajj is a part of Islam. It's something that identifies you as a Muslim. So now, choose to either be with the Jews or the Christians. Because they pray, they fast, they give charity in their own way, but they don't do the Hajj. Hajj is something that is specific to Muslims. And this is why Mecca, only the Muslim enters into Mecca. And Hajj is something that we have to plan for. Of course, it requires planning, and it's not easy. 1400 years have passed, Hajj has not become easier. There's still some difficulty in there, but it is the ubudiyah. It is the sense of obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that comes out of the Hajj. Walking around the Kaaba. Someone might say, why do I have to do this? Because God said so. Why do I have to walk between Safa and Marwa? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said so. So now, inshallah, we will go with the prerequisites checklist, and then we will begin to explain. Please feel free to interrupt me. Sometimes I go really fast. So feel free to interrupt me, raise your hand, or say whatever you need to say, so that we can, everyone could get out of this having everything they need to know. And if we came to a time restriction, we could continue in another time as well. So this is all about you, and we want you to all go to Hajj and knowing what you're going to experience. Especially this year, they've made it difficult. In the previous years, we used to go with a hamla. We used to go with, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 scholars in a group of 100 people or more, and people would ask, you're with the scholar who's telling you exactly what to do at the moment. So now they've made it difficult. Inshallah, you will have access. Of course, everyone should have internet with them. You'll have WhatsApp. Feel free to call, because there's a lot of things that you could do which end up becomes a kafara for you. Some people, they go to Hajj, they come back, they have to slaughter 10 sheep. Because of so many kafaras that they have. So we will begin with the prerequisites checklist. Can you go to the next slide, please? So these are all things that should be done. Some of them in general, they should be done regardless if you're going to Hajj or not. These are things that a person should have. One is to prepare an Islamic will. This is something that is mustahab to always have. In fact, some people, they think that having a will is going to mean that I'm dying soon. No, it just means that you're being prepared for the moment of meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is to be written in the will? In the will, you write your testament of faith. Say that, like, when I believe that there is no God other than Allah, I believe in. Write it down, your aqeedah, write it down. So that later on, future generations, your children, they come and they say, no, my father, my mother, they died having these beliefs. This is good to have, but it's not necessary. What is necessary is if you have anything that is due upon you. So for example, if you have salah, if you have prayers to make up, if you have sawm to make up, if you have zakat, if you have khums, if you've borrowed money from someone, if you've given money to someone, this is all things that you should write down. Salaam alaikum. Write down everything so that the moment if I'm not here, people after me, they will know. So this is good to have in general anytime, and it is also good to have if you're going to Hajj. The sister asked a few days ago, and when you're writing the will, you're allowed to 1/3 of your tarika, meaning 1/3 of your leaving of what you leave behind, that you're allowed to do with it whatever you want. You could give it to one person in the family, you could give it to an organization, you could spend it however you want. 2/3 of the tarika, 2/3 of your assets, whatever you leave, that you cannot do whatever you want with. That is divided amongst the inheritors. للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. If you have parents, if you have children, you have siblings, based on the rules of Islamic inheritance, there's a rule. There's rules. You have your parents and your children in the first circle, and then it expands and expands. But 1/3, you could do whatever you want. So some people, they write, for example, I want 1/3 of my assets to be given towards charity, to be given towards building a mosque, to be given towards orphans, to be given towards such and such kids, or to be given to a specific person. You could do that. So this is regarding Islamic will. Any questions on that? Yes, brother.
For the khums, do you have to pay that on the Hajj?
Yes, I'll get to that next, inshallah. The second point is when you go to Hajj, you need to know who you're following, who's your marja'. Because there's a lot of things, small things, but different maraja' have different view. For example, the tadlil. When you're traveling, while you're wearing ihram for the men, if you are covered, meaning you're in a bus or you're in a car and you're wearing the ihram, this is only for the men. For some scholars, you could travel at night. Other scholars, they say, no, you can't even travel at night. When it comes to the ghusl of the ihram, some scholars, they say, this ghusl, it takes the place of wudu. Other scholars say it doesn't take the place of wudu. So you need to know the differences based on the marja' that you're following. And you need to know who your marja' is. If you don't know who to follow or you haven't followed anyone, reach out to me. We could talk about that. So this is second. Yes?
So for this traveling, what size is that?
So they allow you to travel at night. You can't travel during the day in ihram. So we will get to that. So right now, for example, you wore ihram in Medina and you want to, in Masjid al-Shajara, you want to go to Mecca. You have to wait until Maghrib time to get in the bus to travel. Other scholars, they say no. Regardless, you can't be covered. Tadlil is not accepted. Sayyid Sistani, Sayyid Khamenei, they allow that. But if it begins to rain while you're traveling, then you have to give a kafara. Yes. We will explain that, inshallah, when we get to that in detail. Okay, now the brother asked about the khums and the zakat. So this is also an obligation that you have to have. Similarly with taqlid, you need to follow a marja', but with Hajj it becomes more highlighted. It becomes more important. When it comes to Hajj, or regardless of Hajj, you need to give your khums and your zakat. This is an obligation. However, if you're going to Hajj, the money that you're spending on Hajj, because this is an act of ibadah. This is worship. So can I worship God with money that part of it does not belong to me? No. I need to make sure that all of the money that I'm putting towards the Hajj is money that is pure, money that is mukhammas. If someone says, you know what, this is too difficult, scholars say at least the ihram that you're wearing, at least the clothes that you're wearing, the ihram, because you're going to be, because traveling is not a ibadah, but the ihram that you're wearing, that is the ibadah. At least the ihram that you're wearing, that should be money that you have given khums on. Some people, they say, don't even talk to me about khums. This is too much for me. At least the ihram. But regardless, khums should be given in general every year. At least the money that you're going to Hajj with. And if that is something that you cannot do, then at least the ihram that you're wearing. Any questions? Oh, yes.
Clarification. So the money that you save for Hajj, let's say it's 15,000.
Yes.
On that money or?
Yes. So before you pay the package to go to Hajj, at least give the khums of that. So for example, you need to spend 15,000 to go to Hajj. So you need to give khums on like 20,000, for example, which will end you up closer to the money that you need. The 4/5 that is left, that money is the money that is fully pure, and you go to Hajj with. But having said that, a person needs to give khums regardless. You know, the khums is wajib. Just like Hajj is wajib, khums is wajib as well. Any questions? Okay. Another very important point is to seek forgiveness from other people. Because Allah will be forgiven you, inshallah. But if I have hurt someone else, if I have done something wrong to other people, then I need to go and, fix my matters with other people. And it's also good to forgive other people as well. If I expect God to forgive me and I expect people to forgive me, then I should also be willing to forgive other people. Okay. Now, the conditions for Hajj. Can you go to the next page, please? Conditions, is this, can you guys read this? Is it clear? Okay, the conditions for Hajj. When does Hajj become wajib? One, a person has to be baligh. This is one. So you have to have gone through puberty. For boys, for girls. The age of puberty is different. Some scholars, for girls, they say 9 Hijri. Some, they say 13. And for men, as well, as soon as the signs of puberty show. Second is a person has to be aqil, sane. So you need to understand. You need to comprehend what is expected of you. Third, you need to be physically capable. Say someone is paralyzed. Hajj is not wajib upon them because they are unable to go and perform the Hajj. And the Hajj has some conditions. It has some requirements. You need to walk between Safa and Marwa. There's hiking, there's walking, there's a lot of physical acts that are required. So you need to have all of that. Travel must be open. So during COVID, Hajj was closed. Say you got the money, but you were unable to go, then that means it did not become wajib upon you because one of the conditions was not met. Financially capable. You need to be financially capable in order to afford to go to Hajj. So what does financially capable mean? I have children, I have a family, I have a loan, I have all of these expenses. When am I financially capable? You're financially capable when you have the money, the cash. Whatever Hajj costs. The first time I went to Hajj was less than $3,000. If I had that, Hajj became wajib upon me. Now, Hajj is, how much is it now, the least package? $13,000, $14,000. If you have that, but that means you have also spent on your family, you've spent on your kids, you've done the basic necessities. So you're not supposed to deprive your family of food so that you could go to Hajj. No, you've fulfilled all of your basic necessities, then you go to Hajj. Now, some people, they come and they say, okay, I have a mortgage payment, for example, and I do have the money, but I have a loan as well. I have a loan, qard, as well. So different scholars, they interpret when you're capable, different scenarios as when you are capable. But there's a hila shar'iyya that a person could do. This is a halal loophole to make sure that you fulfill the hajjatul Islam. Because for some people, if I'm in debt, even though I have a stable income coming in, but I'm in debt $200,000 on my house, They'll tell you you're not capable because you have a qard. So what you do is you have your friend or someone come and give you money. Not, you don't necessarily have to go with that money. You could give it back right away. They come and they give you, for example, $10,000. They tell you, I'm giving you this to go to Hajj with. You accept it, Hajj became wajib upon you because that money was given to you for Hajj specifically. You accept it, Hajj became wajib upon you, then you give it back to them. This is a halal loophole just to get out of the issue with mortgage, and because most of us, you might have a $200,000, $300,000 loan on your house, but you are capable because you have a stable income coming in. You are capable of going to Hajj, but just to meet the requirements of Hajjatul Islam. Because Hajjatul Islam is the wajib Hajj that a person has to make once in their life. You need to be capable. You need to meet the conditions in order for that to apply to you. If you do not meet any of these conditions, then Hajjatul Islam will not have been met. There are some people, they went to Hajj, but they did not have money. Maybe they borrowed money to go to Hajj just to go to Mecca and Medina. But later on, they became financially capable. Hajj is still wajib upon them when they became financially capable. So you get the point? You have to make sure that Hajj is obligatory upon you. Any questions regarding this? Yes, Mahdi. Unless your father or your mother or someone gives you money, they tell you, I'm giving you this money so you go to Hajj. I'm giving you ownership of this money. This is specifically for Hajj. Then you take it and Hajj becomes wajib upon you. But if you don't have the money to go to Hajj on your own and you borrowed from the bank to go to Hajj, that doesn't count. No. No. Unless someone gives you the money, tells you to go. You're not required to take your kids to Hajj. Yes. Yes. No. You have to offer and they have to accept as well. So you can't just say, okay, go to Hajj, but maybe they have they have to accept. So, sister, is this an issue that you want to discuss more, or? Because they're not financially capable. Right now, I don't have $10,000. I come and I borrow some money from someone, I'm borrowing it. So you can't borrow to go to Hajj. You need to be financially capable to go to Hajj. You have to have istita'a. Allah doesn't want you to burden yourself. Allah says Hajj is wajib upon you when you have the money. You don't need to go out of the way to make yourself financially capable. But yes, some of us, maybe right now I don't have $10,000, but I've traveled the whole world. I've seen this place, this place, this place. So that means I am capable, bil quwwa, meaning I am able to become capable of going to Hajj. Right now I don't have money, so I come and I tell my friend, give me $10,000. He tells you, okay, I'll give you. I take it. Hajj is wajib upon me, I give it back to him. This is the halal loophole. Just so you have that money to be able to go to Hajj.
Still not clear with this. So, I mean, I did not do this part. Give it to someone and ask you. Like, we're all in the negative. We all have mortgages. We all have credit cards. I mean, I'm in the negative overall. But I have the $10,000 to pay for the Hajj. But I did not do
Okay, so you do it with your wife, and your wife does. She tells you, I give you $10,000 or $15,000 so that you go to Hajj. You say I accept, and you do the same. That's it.
I mean, we did. We paid.
Okay, that's it. It's fine. You.
You might say no. I just
This is.
we did not do it formal.
You don't need to do that. This is just some people. When it comes to this issue, it's a little bit. They just want to play it with the book to make sure that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. So this is the loophole with it. Yes.
Do you physically have to give the money?
No, you could just say I give you this much, and you say I accept. Yes. Okay. Next. Yes. Go ahead.
So if we were physically and financially and or capable, say 5 years back, we didn't do it for some reason or the
Then Hajj became wajib upon you.
then became wajib.
Yes.
Now we are not, but it's still
It's still wajib. It's still wajib. So you might have been wajib. It might have been wajib upon you before you got all your loans and you did all of these things. Remember, there was a time, Hajj was $3,000. It was $2,000. So it became wajib upon many people. Yes. Okay. So now the next slide. Who is? Yes, sister. That's why we do that loophole. Yes. So yes, you could still go to Hajj, but if you do that thing where your husband tells you, "I'm giving you this so that you go to Hajj," then now you have the ownership of it. Then you'll be able to go. Yes.
say, for example, when I was buying the house, okay, because all of us have our home mortgage.
Yes.
At the time I was going to buying the house, I had that much money, so Hajj was wajib on me for at least the down payment.
It became wajib upon you. Yes.
Now I don't have it because I owe the mortgage.
So Hajj is still wajib upon you. It's still wajib upon you. You could use that because it became wajib upon you. Say 20 years ago, it became wajib upon you. That's it. It was wajib. Yes. So most of us, Hajj did become wajib upon us. If you're living in America, a comfortable life, and you have a house and you travel and you have a car and all these things, Hajj did become wajib upon you at some point in your life. Okay, who is going to Medina first and who's going to Mecca first? You guys are doing Medina first? You guys? You're not sure yet. Okay. So typically, when I've been to Hajj, all the times I went to Medina first. But some people, they land in Jeddah and they do Mecca first and then they go to Medina. But the way the Prophet performed the Hajj was through Masjid al-Shajara, which is the miqat of the people of Medina. So I'm going to give you the scenario of we land in Medina first and then we go to Mecca. But if anyone has to do Mecca first, there's miqat. What is miqat? Miqat is a place to enter into the state of ihram. So the people of Medina, the miqat is Masjid al-Shajara. But for example, if you're coming from Iraq, you're coming from Yemen, you're coming from Syria, each group of people, they had a different miqat. So if you land in Jeddah and you have to go to Mecca right away, you can't go to Medina first, then the miqat is Juhfa. Miqat al-Juhfa. So you would have to take a taxi, go to Juhfa, enter into the state of Ihram, and then from there enter into Mecca. But now we'll talk about Medina first. Of course, this is not a part of the Hajj yet. Going to Medina is not a part of the Hajj. Hajj is in Mecca, Arafat, Muzdalifah, Mina. These are the acts of the Hajj. But the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa he says, "Man hajja walam yazurni faqad jafani." The person who performs the Hajj and this person does not make the effort to come and visit me, then this person has neglected me. So this is why we go and we visit Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa We go and we visit the Imams of the Ahl al-Bayt, Imam al-Hasan, Imam Zayn al-Abidin, Imam al-Baqir, and Imam al-Sadiq. The Imams in the Baqi', the grave of Fatima al-Zahra is somewhere in that vicinity. And one of the attractions, the first attraction you will see when you get to Medina is Masjid al-Nabi. Masjid al-Nabi is the masjid that Rasulullah used to pray in and the burial place of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because the house of the Prophet was at the time of the Prophet, it was adjacent to the masjid. Now the house is inside the masjid. So it's a part of the masjid. And between the hadith of Rasulullah, he says, بَيْنَ قَبْرِي وَمِنْبَرِي رَوْضَةٌ مِّن رِيَاضِ الْجَنَّةِ. Between my grave and my minbar is a garden in paradise. It's a place of paradise. It's called the Rawda. This is why all of the Hujjaj, if you go to Medina, you should make an effort to go and pray at least 2 rak'ahs in the Rawda. The Rawda is the original masjid of the Prophet. That's because the Prophet's mosque has gone through many expansions. So it's very big now. But the original masjid, that is where you will see the house of the Prophet. Of course, it doesn't look like a house. It's just green. It's all green. They've put bookshelves as well. They don't allow you to go get close to the house and say salam. They'll consider that shirk. But you'll see the house. And the Qibla is right in front of you, and the Mimbar and the Mihrab of the Prophet is also there. So try to get in that place. Now, how do you get into that place? You have to download an app called Nusuk. Nusuk. Nusuk, you download it and you make an appointment to enter. So I don't know, the rules keep changing, but ever since COVID, I was there a couple of months ago. You make an appointment and you select the time. For example, there's 10, 10:30, 11, 11:30. All these times, there's times for men and times for women. You select the time, then you get a barcode and it shows you like your appointment time. You go and you stand in line, and then you'll be able to go and enter into the Rawdah. In one way, it's become a lot easier because before there was no appointment. You always go and you see people standing there. There's no room for you to pray. You either make it or don't. Now you get an appointment, you could go. Yes, Hajj.
How long you stay in there?
15 minutes they let you to pray. Even ladies, there's times specific for ladies as well. Yes. So I have the app for Umrah. I haven't done it during the Hajj, but the Nusuk app, you just download it. Yes. You make an appointment for entering into the Rawdah of the Prophet's Mosque. As soon as you go in, you could make another appointment. So make your plan that when you enter Medina that night, make your appointment ahead of time, because there's going to be a lot of people making an appointment. And then as soon as you finish, see if you can get another appointment right away to enter again. It's going to be difficult. But you give it a try, and at least you could go and try to pray there. So this is one. The salah in the Prophet's mosque is equivalent to 10,000 prayers. Does this mean that if I haven't prayed, I could make up all in one prayer now? No. This is just the thawab. The thawab, and in Masjid al-Haram, it's equivalent to 100,000 prayers. So you go and you pray salat mustahab, and try to do all your prayers in Masjid al-Nabi. You read the Quran. This is time of ibadah. Try to spend a lot of time there. Okay, next slide, please. Now you have the Prophet's mosque. Adjacent to the Prophet's mosque is Al-Baqi'. Al-Baqi' cemetery. And this is the oldest cemetery in Islam. It is the burial site of the Imams of the Ahl Bayt, Abbas, the uncle of the Prophet, Fatima bint Asad, Ibrahim, the son of the Prophet, the aunt of the Prophet, al-Banin, the wives of the Prophet, and 6,000 to 7,000 companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're all buried there. Unfortunately, only men could enter into the Baqi'. There's places on the side where you could see through the fence. You could see, and it's all about the niyyah. You could stand outside and perform the ziyarah, read the ziyarah of the imams of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Even for the men, they might not let you read the ziyarah. So usually what we do is we read the ziyarah outside between the masjid and the Baqi', outside before we enter. We read the ziyarah and then we just enter and do salawat and say a quick salam to the imams of the Ahlul Bayt. So this is the Baqi' cemetery. Of course, the Baqi' cemetery, 100 years ago, there were mausoleums. It was a place to be visited. Now it's all with the ground. And it's a very sad image to see. The Baqi', for the brothers, it is open immediately after Fajr prayer and after Asr prayer. Other times it's closed. So as soon as you finish your Fajr prayer, make your way to the Baqi'. Make your way to the Baqi'. What we usually do is, in Medina and in Mecca, 1 hour before Adhan al-Fajr, 1 hour before Fajr, you hear a adhan. You're going to hear a adhan. This is called the adhan to call people for tahajjud, to call people for Salat al-Layl, because the last 1/3 of the night is the time for Salat al-Layl. So you see hundreds of people, thousands of people, they're all walking to the masjid. That last hour before Fajr, the masjid gets packed. People are praying, reading Quran. Try to go at that time or before that time, and then you do your Salat al-Layl, you do your Fajr prayer, do the ziyarah while you're waiting. You're going to be facing the Qibla. The Prophet is going to be right in front of you. You'll see where the Prophet is, the house of the Prophet. You could do the ziyarah of Fatima Zahra. After Fajr prayer, you leave. You leave and you go to the Baqi'. You leave to the Baqi', then you could do the ziyarah, and then you go and you have the very good breakfast. Yes, at the hotel. Okay. Additional sites to visit in Medina. You have Jabal Uhud. Jabal Uhud is where the Battle of Uhud took place. Hamza is buried there along with 70 of the shuhada. So if you're not with a group, usually when we go as a group, they go and they get us in a bus and we go and we visit all of these attractions. Masjid Quba, Masjid Qiblatain, all one after the other. If you're not with a group, you take a taxi, you go and you visit these places. Masjid Quba, this is the first masjid in Islam. Because the Prophet, when he migrated from Mecca to Medina, he stopped in Quba waiting for Imam Ali to come with the Fawatim. So he stayed in Quba. And Rasulullah says in a hadith, whoever does wudu in his home and comes to Quba and performs 2 rak'ah prayer, this person receives the thawab of a umrah. You receive the thawab of umrah for 2 rak'ah prayers. So if you have some free time, you're not tired, get in a taxi, do wudu, get in a taxi, go to Masjid Quba. It's a 10-minute taxi ride. You go there and pray 2 rak'ah prayers and then you leave. If you're with a group, then the group will take you. If you're not with a group, you get in a taxi, visit these places. Masjid Quba, Uhud, Masjid al-Qiblatain, the place where the Qibla changed. The Muslims were praying towards Quds, Masjid al-Aqsa. Then Jibreel switched the Prophet, turned the Prophet all the way to, in the middle of prayer, he turned him all the way to the Mecca. And I remember when the first couple times I went to Hajj, the masjid had 2 mihrabs in it. There was one mihrab facing Maqdis, one mihrab facing Mecca. But then they got rid of the one facing Maqdis because probably confused some people. So now there's only one mihrab, but this is Masjid al-Qiblatain. And then there is the Masajid al-Sab'a. This is the place of the battle of the Khandaq, the battle of the trench, where this was a place of worship for, there's Masjid Salman, Masjid Rasulullah, Masjid Imam Ali, Masjid Fatima Zahra, there's other Sahaba as well. So these, they don't allow you to go and pray in them. Unfortunately, there's a small place, it's called Masjid Fatima Zahra, it's like a small room. A small place, Masjid Salman. They don't allow people to go and pray in them. They've locked them up and they built one big masjid called Masjid al-Fath. We don't usually pray in Masjid al-Fath because that's not where the Prophet prayed. We want to pray where Fatima Zahra prayed, where Imam Ali prayed, where Rasulullah prayed. But it's good to go and see it. We usually, when we go to Umrah or Hajj, in that same trip that we do the tours in Medina, we go and we visit these places. So this is a place to visit. Any questions? Okay, next slide, please. Now you have to get ready for Umrah al-Tamattu'. So Hajj, now you're getting ready to actually perform the Hajj. And Hajj is 2 parts. There is the Umrah al-Tamattu' and then there's Hajj al-Tamattu'. Because anytime you enter Mecca, you have to enter Mecca in the state of Ihram. You cannot enter Mecca without the state of Ihram. You can't just go with normal clothes to Mecca. Mecca is such a sacred city, Masjid al-Haram. And it is the city that is haram. What does that mean? That means so many things are haram to do in the city. It has its sanctity. So you enter into Mecca, you have to be in the state of Ihram. So this is to get you ready to perform the Hajj. You have to enter into Mecca to do the Umrah. It's called Umrah al-Tamattu'. If it's any other time not related to Hajj, it's called Umrah Mufrada, meaning singular Umrah. But Umrah al-Tamattu' is the Umrah that is going to connect you with the Hajj. You're going to have to do the Hajj after. So this is called Umrah al-Tamattu'. So anytime from Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, you enter into Medina, into Mecca, this is called Umrah al-Tamattu'. Of course, if you ended up having to leave, you can't continue the Hajj, then you turn it, you do the intention of making it into Hajj, Umrah Mufrada, the same way Imam al-Hussein did. Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he went to Mecca. His intention was to perform Hajj, but he switched the niyyah and he left to Karbala. So this is entering into Mecca. You have to be in the state of Ihram. How do you enter into the state of Ihram? From the mawaqit, the miqat. So we said the miqat of the people of Medina is Masjid al-Shajara. This is also a place where Rasulullah put on his ihram. It's mustahab to pray in all these places. And even the masajid that we mentioned before, it's mustahab to go and pray 2 rak'ah prayer, tahiyyat al-masjid. Anytime you enter in any masjid, 2 rak'ah tahiyyat al-masjid, and then you could also do mustahab prayers. So this is the first part of the Hajj. Yes, Hajj.
You're in Medina, then you take the shuttle, right, to go to Mecca.
Yes.
They have Shia and Sunni, everyone have to stop in Masjid Shajra?
No. So what you need to do, there's going to be no shuttle for you.
No, there's a bus, part of the package.
There's a bus? Okay, so you have to figure out, there's a train as well. The train is a lot faster.
For example, mine is a shuttle.
Okay, the bus ride is 4 hours. If it's just you and your wife and small group of people, I would suggest now you take the train. The train will get you there in an hour, and it's a lot faster. But if it's you're with a big group, then yeah, you have to be in the bus. But anyways, if the bus is going to leave from Medina, because a lot of times you're going to see people, if they're not Shia, they might be very lax with their rules. So they might do their ihram in Masjid al-Nabi, and then or you have to ask them, are they going to Masjid al-Shajara or are they not? You have to go to Masjid al-Shajara. Or if the bus is going to leave from in front of the hotel, then they're going to tell you we're leaving at, for example, this time. You need to go to Masjid al-Shajara first. Masjid al-Shajara is close. It's about 20 minutes. 20 minutes and you'll get there. It's in Medina, outside heading towards Mecca, but it's close to Medina. Yes, Hajj.
But I think when you go from, even if you take the train or the bus, from the time you leave Masjid al-Shajara to Mecca, you're not supposed to look at glass.
Yeah. All of these rules, I will explain them. So what you need to do, ask them, find out what time they're leaving. They might be leaving in the morning. That's a kafara on you, because you're gonna have to go through tawlil. So you need to make sure, you need to time the time that you go to Masjid al-Shajara is close to Maghrib. So what you do, the first thing you do when you arrive to Medina, for the sisters, get your ihram ready. The ihram of the sisters is not like the ihram of the men. You could wear normal clothes, it just has to be tahir, and there's no zina in it, no decoration. So it's better to wear just simple clothes. You could buy them over there, or you could probably buy them here, right? Yes. So, but for the brothers, you go there, next to your hotel, there's going to be shops. They sell ihram. You go, you buy the ihram. What is the ihram? The ihram is it's like a big towel, but it has to have no makhit in it. Meaning sometimes there's a sign is stitched to it. You have to rip it out. You have to remove it. That paper, the logo of it. So you have that. The ihram is one top part and one bottom part, and you buy the himyan. The himyan is a belt. You buy it, which will hold it for you, because you can't tie it. If you tie it, that's kind of like makhit as well. So you wrap it around you, and then you put the belt on, and then you put it tight, and then you cover it. That himyan, it's also like a wallet as well. You could put some of your money, some things in there. The himyan could be stitched. The sandals that you wear, they could be stitched, but other than that, nothing could be stitched. So you get the ihram ready. Now you find out when the bus is going to Mecca. If they're going during the day, that's a kafara on you. If you're willing to give the kafara, go ahead. One sheep. Yes. Yeah, it depends where you do it. In some countries it's less, some countries it's more. Yeah. Yes? The train does not go to Masjid al-Shajara, but what you do, what you do is you have to make sure your travel, of course for the sisters they could travel during the day. But for the men, you cannot travel during the day, you have to give kafara. So what you do is you plan to go to Masjid al-Shajara around Maghrib time, before Maghrib. Do your ghusl, do what you need to do at the hotel, and you don't look at the mirror, all of the things that become haram. We'll mention them. You have to start practicing them now. Then you go to Masjid al-Shajara. Pray 2 rak'ah prayers, tahiyyat al-masjid. Wait for Maghrib time. As soon as Maghrib time comes, then you do the niyyah of entering into ihram. Now, figure out where, if the bus is going to be waiting for you in Masjid al-Shajara, then you just get on the bus and you go to Mecca. If the bus is not there, you either find out where the bus is, or if it's at nighttime, you could get under, if you're a follower of Sayyid Khamenei or a follower of Sayyid Sistani, the majority of the scholars, you could get in a car or in a bus when it's covered at night, but not during the day, while you're in the state of Ihram. So you figure out where they are. Or some people, if it's just two people, they tell the taxi driver, take me to the train station. Take me to the train station. You go to the train station and you have to have booked your ticket ahead of time. It's about $80 a person.
With the packages, you can't even go by a train now. It's all in the package and it's all sold out.
Okay. So what you do is, if there's no train, you get a car, just a normal car. When we used to go with groups, we used to have a bus. So the bus leaves Medina, the hotel, we all get in the car, we go to Masjid Shajara, he's waiting for us, then we finish, then we go to Mecca all together. So if you're able to get in the train, it's a lot faster. But if you're with a big group, then you have to see what you could do. Yes, sister.
The taxis type of the
Yes.
about $100 to go anywhere, 15, 20 minutes.
Oh no, from Mecca to Medina,
It's going to be more, yeah. You could figure out, there's a lot of options over there. Yes. So now,
One more question.
yes.
The ihram, the cloth, we put it on the masjid or at the hotel before we go?
So the place of the niyyah, in aqad al-niyyah, where you actually enter into the state of ihram, is in Masjid al-Shajara. So you could stay in your normal clothes, go to Masjid al-Shajara, they have stalls to take a shower, you do the shower there, and then you leave. But when we have a group of 100, 150 people, we can't wait for people to everyone go do a shower. Some people, they want to take a 45-minute shower. So what we do is, we tell everyone in the group, do your ghusl. There's a dua, a niyyah to be performed, and a dua when you're doing the ghusl, and a dua when you're wearing the ihram. And then you go to Masjid Shajara, then we just tell them to say the niyyah to actually enter into the state of ihram. Yes. But if you did the ghusl and you wore the ihram before you went to Masjid Shajara, make sure now, even though you're not officially in the state of ihram, don't look at the mirror, don't do anything that was against, because the thawab of the ghusl will go away. That's it. Yes. So now you Umrah al-Tamattu', you're in Masjid, you go to Masjid Shajara. So before that, or at Masjid Shajara, or before that, you do the ghusl. Ghusl, you wash the head. Everyone should know how to do ghusl. Everyone should know how to do wudu. Everyone should know how to pray out the 2 rak'ah prayers, because this is all a part of the Hajj. If you don't know how to do the ghusl correctly, then the ihram is going to be problematic. Yes. No, you don't have to. Just go, pray your prayers and do the niyyah to enter into the state of ihram. I will explain. So the ghusl, you wash the head and the neck and the right side of the body and the left side of the body. The intention is aghtasilu, I shower for the ihram of Umrah al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Islam, qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. Aghtasilu lil-ihram, لإحرام عمرة التمتع لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. So what you need to know what you're doing. I'm entering into the state of wudu for عمرة التمتع. This عمرة التمتع, which will lead me to Hajj التمتع, and this will lead me to Hajj al-Islam, because this is the wajib Hajj upon me, قربة إلى الله تعالى. I'm doing this for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now you do the ghusl and you wear the ihram. There's a dua book. It has the dua while you're wearing the ihram, dua while you're doing the ghusl. We'll try to share that with you. And then you go to Masjid al-Shajara. In Masjid al-Shajara, go there, pray your 2 rak'ah prayer, pray the Maghrib and Isha prayer. If you're okay with giving the kafara, then you could go anytime. In the morning, you could go to Masjid al-Shajara. Maybe your group, they'll tell you we're going to Masjid al-Shajara at noon. You don't want to separate from the group, you could say, okay, I'm going to just do the kafara. Worst case is you have to just do a kafara, 1 sheep. Yes. So, but this is the first one. Maybe others add up later on. Yes. So,
Maybe we need
So, so here, what you do is, the niyyah in Masjid al-Shajara is أحرم لعمرة التمتع لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. I enter into the state of ihram for عمرة التمتع, for حج التمتع, for حج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. So at this time, the brothers and the sisters, you're already wearing the clothes of ihram, because after ghusl, you don't wear normal clothes. You're wearing the clothes of ihram, but you're not officially in ihram. So what you do is you take your ihram, act as if you're wearing it from top. أحرم لعمرة التمتع لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. And then immediately, what do you say? لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك. What does this mean? This means, Ya Allah, you invited me, now I have come. I am your guest now. And you say labbaik Allah. You have to say the talbiyah right away. If you don't say the talbiyah, then you're not in the state of ihram. The talbiyah is what enters you into the state of ihram. That's kind of the ignition that starts everything. So you say the talbiyah right away, and you could say it as many times as possible. You're going to hear people in Masjid al-Shajara, everyone, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, they're all saying it. So now you are in the state of ihram, and now you have 25 things, they became haram upon you. I will go through the list. 25 things that became haram upon you. So can you skip 2 slides? Go 2 slides, and then we'll come back. Go back 1 slide first. This is the talbiyah. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك. What does this mean? It means, here I am, O Allah, here I am, here I am. No partner do you have, here I am. Verily all praise, favor, and authority belong to you. No partner do you have. Of course, this Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, when he was going, he was with a companion. Imam Sadiq keeps saying labbaik, and he starts to cry. And then he tells him, you have to say it. He says, how can I say it? Where I'm invited to visit Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, now go back to the previous slide. As soon as you enter into the state of ihram, you have these 25 things, they become haram upon you. 1 is hunting, a sayd. 2nd, intercourse, kissing a spouse, touching a spouse with lust, looking at spouse with lust, masturbation, marriage, use of marriage meaning conducted, doing aqd for someone else, or you getting married, use of scented items and perfumes. So this is a big test for many people. The shampoo that you use, you have to make sure you get shampoo that does not have a scent. No fragrance. No putting any lotion. None of that. Wearing sewn clothes, makhit. So for men, you can't wear sewn clothes. That's it. You're in a state of ibadah. And this resembles the kafan. This ihram, it resembles the kafan. No eyeliner, kuhl, for men or women. No looking in the mirror. A lot of people, they're not looking in the mirror, but they're looking at their phone. How does this ihram look on me? They're doing this. They're taking selfies. So this acts as a mirror. So if you want to take pictures, tell someone to take pictures of you. Or take pictures this way. Use the good camera, not the bad one. So take pictures, but you can't look at them as a mirror. This is something that you have to be very careful of. This mirror thing, this is a big test for everyone. Because as soon as you do the ghusl in the hotel, you go out and you're in the elevator, suddenly you're looking at yourself. And you're like, how do I look? And you start doing all these things. You have to try to avoid looking at the mirror. Now, if you did on accident, it's okay. But you shouldn't go and try to beautify yourself. You can't do that. That's a big test for the sisters, yes. And for the men as well. Because you're wearing ihram but for the first time you're wearing ihram, it's nice. You want to see how you look in the ihram. So you're going to have someone help you out and all of that. No wearing socks or closed shoes for the men. You can't wear sisters. You could wear all of that, but the brothers, you have to wear shoes that the top of the foot is revealed. So these type of these sandals, what are they called? The Crocs or the flip-flops. So one thing about sandals, you might lose your sandals. Actually, not you might. You will lose your sandals. So I remember this last time we went to Hajj, he went and he bought $100 sandals. As soon as we entered Masjid al-Haram, it got lost. So you buy sandals that are comfortable, but for men they need to reveal the top of your leg. Maybe you could buy the Crocs and cut something in the middle just so that you have the top of your ظهر القدم, the top of your foot, it is showing. Okay? No, some of them have a different kafara. So this is very detailed. So if you had an issue, like you would have to look up what is the kafara, or you could ask me, we could look it up for you. Some of them, the kafara is istighfar. Some of them, the kafara is if you do it multiple times, like plucking hair, for example. It depends how many did you pluck. Making yourself bleed. These are all different kafara for all of them. But typically the kafara is a sheep to be slaughtered. So the removal of a tooth. So Dr. Aziza, be careful. No, yes. Carrying a weapon. Carrying a weapon. Who? Hay mushkilat min. Whose problem is it? Who likes to carry weapons all the time? Haida? Yeah. Okay. Removal of a weapon. Carrying a weapon. Killing insects. When you're in ihram, can you see an ant and you just start killing it? No, you can't. Unless it's trying to attack you or something, but you should not hurt anything. That's it. You're in the state of ihram. Adornment, zina, makeup, all that stuff you can't do. Applying lotion, oils, shaving or removing any hair from the body. This is why before you enter into the state of ihram, clean yourself so that hairs won't be falling out. You know, you have to clean all of the body hair so that you don't have any problem with that. Shaving or removing any hair from the body, covering of head or immersing body in the water for men. So men, you can't cover your head. Can I put a cap on? Can I put my ihram on my head? It's gonna be really hot the day, especially when you're in Mina from Muzdalifah going to Mina, the sun is scorching on your head. You can't cover your head. That's it. You have to walk in the sun. The sisters, of course, you're wearing hijab. So, but the sisters cannot cover the face. Covering of the face for the sisters is not allowed. You cannot cover your face. Traveling under any shade for men. So right now, from Medina to Mecca, there can't be tadlil during travel. Scholars say in Mecca, when you enter into Mecca, you're walking in the streets of Mecca and there's a high-rise building and it's giving you shade. Then that's okay because that's the wall of the city. But you are just walking, that's it. You can't go and be in a shaded place, or you can't be in a car that is covered during the day.
I was watching too, there's some tunnels.
Tunnel is okay. You're allowed to walk under the tunnel if there's a building that's giving you shade, but you can't be traveling and like in a car, for example, that is covered. Yes.
If it rains, you cannot do this.
No.
And if we have, say, a cut, or we get injured while, whatever, while walking or so, are we allowed to put any kind of a Band-Aid or any kind of
Band-Aid, yeah, you could to stop it.
cream or anything like antibiotic on
If it's medicinal, you're allowed to. If it's for the sake of medicine. But if it's just for the sake of adornment or any of that, then you should try to avoid it.
And some people get a sore, like say from walking or blisters, or
This happens a lot, yeah.
or they have
Yeah. No, some of the men, they have I don't know what it's called, because you're not wearing underwear, so it rubs and it creates that friction. Yeah. What is it called? Jockage? Yeah. So this happens. You're gonna see some people, they're walking like a penguin. It's gonna hurt. Put a piece of cloth, put something, but you can't put a cream at that time. Yes. So it's now some scholars, if you're really in trouble, then they would allow it, or you do it and you give the kafara. What are you gonna do? You don't want to get yourself in a worse situation. We have cases where people, they would go to the imam and they tell him, for example, I'm in pain, I have this. Then the imam would tell him, okay, you're allowed to. But in a normal circumstance, you can't put on any type of lotion or any of that. So causing yourself to bleed, you can't do that. Clipping of the nails. This is why all of these things, do that before. Because if you have a long nail, your toes, you're walking in the tawaf and you hit something, that nail breaks. You don't wanna have that, because there's just people. It's jam packed. So make sure you clip your nails. Do all of these things. This is a big problem. To lie, to swear, to say, Wallah, I had I'm so tired, and all these things. Wallah, I was better in the. Some people, every other word is Wallah. So this is it's kafara. It has kafara on it. You have to be very careful not to say that. No arguments, even arguing. فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. There's an ayah in the Quran. Can you fight with someone? Argue with someone just for the sake of argument? No. You cannot do that. So this is a big issue. And this is a big test for people. Because in ihram, you really get tested. You get angry. Why didn't you come? You're late. It's all your fault. We did this. And you have to be very careful. This is all an act of ibadah. Yes, Hajj Haidar.
Even during tawaf, people will be pushing you.
Yeah, in tawaf, people will be pushing you. Maybe someone will shove you. So you have to always remind yourself that you're in a state of ibadah. Okay, can we go to the next slide? Yes. So unless you're worried about COVID or something major, you're allowed to. Scholars now, they allowed. But you have to see if is it a real fear or is it not a real fear?
You don't want to be the only one in 1,000 people around you.
Yeah.
That means it's not
But
pandemic anymore.
let me tell you something. You're all gonna get sick. Not to be, not to give you bad news, but everyone gets sick when they go to Hajj, because there's hundreds of thousands and millions of people. They're coughing all over the place. That's why try to protect yourself. Like, don't get near someone who's sick. But if you don't, try not to wear the mask. But if you feel that you had to, then you can. I saw pictures of ulama, scholars during COVID, because it was imposed upon them.
And it's only hours, right? It's not like the whole Hajj.
Well, when you first enter, you're in the mataf. But it's open. It's open. It's not like a closed area, but this is something. If you feel that you really need to wear it, then go ahead and wear it.
One thing I noticed last time that we were there, because we went to Medina first, people were coughing in our faces. So those people who did not wear the mask in Masjid Nabawi, they got sick by the time they went to Mecca, because they caught stuff. So I think before the ihram, if we protect ourselves, then we need not protect ourselves during that time.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in Medina, try to wear it. Try to protect yourself. But people either over there or when they get back, they end up getting a cough. Nothing is gonna kill you. You might get a cough. You might get something. But take some medicine with you. Maybe have access to a doctor. Take antibiotics. Take whatever you need with you to protect yourself. Now we're on the page of tawaf. Can you go to the next one, please?
But say, before we go to the tawaf,
Yes.
we're in Mecca, in Medina, going to Mecca in state of ihram. We're going straight to the hotel. We're not going straight to.
When you enter into Mecca, yes, you go to the hotel.
And then you sleep, and then next day you put it on, and
No. You don't take off your ihram. That's it. You could take off the ihram and go to the shower, but you can't wear anything else. You can't wear anything else. Libs al-makhit. You can't wear, for example, socks or pants or any of that thing. You're in the state of ihram. This is why This is what's going to happen. You're going to get to Mecca. Probably if you left at night, you're going to get to Mecca. It's in the middle of the night. Probably getting close to Fajr as well, depending on how late you were. But if it's just a small group of people, you should be able to pray Maghrib and head out as soon as possible. That's the best way to do it. You get there. So what time is Maghrib right now in Mecca or in Medina? Can someone look it up? Yeah, so probably by 12:1 you get there. You should get there. You go to the hotel right away, drop off your stuff, do wudu, and you head to Masjid al-Haram. You don't want to waste time because the longer you're in the state of Ihram, 6:49. The longer you're in the state of Ihram, the more chances of you looking in the mirror, the more chances of you hugging your wife, the more chances of something happens. So here, no offense to, so here, you have to try to do it as soon as possible. So what do? You go, you drop off the stuff, do wudu, maybe you're hungry, you eat something. There's stores around or in the hotel or whatever. Then what you do is you go to Masjid al-Haram. So now you enter into Masjid al-Haram. You enter into Masjid al-Haram, and this is a very beautiful sight. There's du'as to be performed. Look up there's a du'a that before you do the tawaf, do it. What do you take with you when you go to the take a drawstring bag. For example, for 2 people, 1 person could carry a drawstring bag. What do you have in there? You're gonna put your sandals in that drawstring bag. So because there's sandals everywhere, it's gonna get lost. You put them in there and you close it, you tie it. If it has a zipper, that's even better. Because one time, funny story, we went with 3 of my friends. We went to do tawaf. One of the brothers, he said, let me take all the shoes. Let me take all of them. And one of them had that expensive Birkenstocks. So what happened was one of them, he said, I'll take all the sandals. He wanted to volunteer. So we said, okay. He put them all. And we were in tawaf. After we finished tawaf, he turned around, he took it off. He saw that the bag had flipped. And all of the sandals had fallen out. So we had to walk to the hotel barefoot. So here, get one of those, maybe with a zipper, and you put your sandals in there, and then you put a bottle of water in there. A bottle of water. Why? Because the water that is in Masjid al-Haram is what water? Zamzam water. And it says this water is only for drinking. Can you do wudu with that water? It's problematic. So you take water that is yours, that belongs to you. You take that water, and if you needed to do wudu, you don't want to have to leave the masjid. It takes you 15 minutes to leave and come back. So you have that water to drink as well. You could drink from the Zamzam water, or you could drink from that as well, and to do wudu. So this is all you need, and your address, where's your hotel, maybe a dua book, maybe you want to put your phone or something in there. But this is something that you have to be very careful. There's people with blades. They'll cut your ihram and they'll take money. No one enters into the tawaf with money. I remember the first year I went to Hajj. After we finished, someone says they took $6,000 from my pocket, from my ihram. We told him, why did you carry that much money with you? You leave it in the hotel, leave it in the safe. Carry 100 riyal with you, 200 riyal. Don't carry more than that. You don't need money. The hotel is walking distance, so you don't need to take money with you. Be very careful from people that will pick your pockets from you. So maybe because you're in the state of ihram, there's pushing and shoving. People are touching you all over. Someone just grabs something and you won't feel it. So be very careful of that. Yes, sister.
The small spray bottles are good for wudu, which is carry.
Okay.
Rather than the water bottle, the spray bottle.
Because it saves water. It saves water and it gets your hands. Yes. Yes. So these are good things to have. So when you enter, you're going to see a very beautiful sight. You're going to see the Kaaba and the constant motion of people circumambulating around the Kaaba. it's do dua. There's a hadith that says that time when you see the Kaaba, Allah will answer your du'as. Yes.
Do I have to go from a certain door, right? Bab Ali or something?
No, any door. Any door. There's Bab Umar ibn Abdul, Malik Abdul Aziz, Al Saud, or these, they put it in the name of their kings. So you enter into one of them, but now, post COVID, there have been some changes that have been made. So if you're not wearing ihram, you go through one door that does not take you to the mataf. You have to make sure that you get on the ground floor of the tawaf. Because the Masjid al-Haram has the ground floor where the Kaaba is on, and then around it there's levels. There's levels. Different doors go to different levels. When they see your muhrim, you tell the police there. You tell them, I have to do tawaf. He tells you go through this door. There's only one or two doors that take you directly, so you don't need to go anywhere else. It just takes you straight to the tawaf. So when you enter, you're going to see the Kaaba, do the dua, pick a location. So it's going to be, usually we enter, like people are moving, people are going. Pick a location, say if we got lost, if anything happens, we meet at this door by this number here. This is where you pick a location so that you come and you meet. If you ended up getting lost. See, this usually happens with bigger groups, but if it's 2 or 3 people, just hold on to one another and that's it. You don't let go of one another and you do the a'mal all together. So when you do the tawaf, you read the dua, and then you go in to begin the tawaf. So the a'mal of Umrah al-Tamattu' is tawaf. Every tawaf has a salah. So there's no tawaf that does not have a salah. If you did the tawaf, then that means you have to do 2 rak'ah prayer, salat al-tawaf. So and how many times do you go around the Kaaba for a tawaf? 7. Can you go 8? No. Can you go 6? No. A tawaf is 7 times around the Kaaba.
Then you have to go and start from Hajj al-Aswad, right?
Yes.
So that one, until you get there.
That's not tawaf.
Okay,
Then you start, you do the niyyah. You do the niyyah before you reach, when you reach the Hajar al-Aswad. How do you know which corner is the Hajar al-Aswad? There's a green light. There's a green light, and you could tell which one's Hajar al-Aswad. The one, you have one corner before the Hajar al-Aswad is the Rukn al-Yamani, where where you see the crack in the corner of the Kaaba. The next one is the Hajar al-Aswad, where it has the green light. There, you have to get your niyyah together. And now, when you begin the tawaf, you can't turn your shoulder left and right. Your shoulder has to be the whole time directly to the Kaaba. So you can't, in the middle of tawaf, turn around and start talking to people here and there. You can't do that. You have to make sure that your shoulder is towards the Kaaba. And you have to make sure that you are walking, not being pushed. Some people, because it's, they're going with the flow, with the crowd, and they're just being pushed. You have to make sure that you are walking. You're doing that. If you got pushed, you have to take a step back and then go. And that's going to be really hard because the motion is constant. So you do the niyyah. You say, أطوف حول البيت 7 أشواط لعمرة التمتع لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. I circumambulate around the Kaaba 7 times for Umrah al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Islam قربة إلى الله تعالى. You have to memorize this. Umrah al-Tamattu', Hajj al-Tamattu', Hajj al-Islam قربة إلى الله تعالى. Now, when you begin so you have to get in the position of where you want to be before you reach, because you can't just enter the tawaf at Hajar al-Aswad. So you start. Probably when you first enter, you might have to do a half a circle or maybe like 3/4 of a circle. Then once you reach Hajar al-Aswad, then you say this: أطوف حول البيت 7 أشواط لعمرة التمتع لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى بسم الله الله أكبر. بسم الله الله أكبر. You're going to see people, they do this. Bismillah towards they look at the Kaaba and they do this. You say Bismillah Allahu Akbar, and you walk. You begin walking. You have to try your best to be between the Kaaba and Maqam Ibrahim. Maqam Ibrahim, I don't think we have a picture. Go to the next slide, please.
Yeah, it's like a lot.
Maqam Ibrahim is this. This is Maqam Ibrahim. Inside this, there's a footprint of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. This was something that used to lift while Ibrahim and Ismail would build the Kaaba. This is Hijr Ismail, this round half hilal. This is Hijr Ismail. This is the Hajar al-Aswad. Right by the door, this is Hajar al-Aswad. So as soon as you begin, you do the niyyah here, you have to make sure you get in here. Between maqam, it looks smaller here, but it's probably from this wall to this wall. How much?
13 meters.
13 meters, yes. So if you couldn't, if it was too crowded, it's okay if you're outside. But try to be inside. Try to be inside. So here you do the niyyah and you go inside. My advice is to stay as close as possible to the Kaaba, but don't touch the Kaaba. Don't touch the Kaaba and don't touch Hijr Ismail. You could touch Hijr Ismail, but don't put your hand above it, because you want to be around the Kaaba. You don't want to be within the Kaaba. And one opinion says that Hijr Ismail is a part of the Kaaba. So this is a part of the old Kaaba. So you do the tawaf around. So you go around, and the closer the circle is, the smaller the circle, the faster you will finish. Because if you're outside, there's some people that are doing tawaf all the way up here. This is each round takes them about 20 minutes, 10 minutes or something.
So how are you gonna get? I mean, if everyone going at the same time there, how are you gonna get?
So you walk in there. Right now they're praying, so there's not tawaf. But you walk in there, try to walk like this, and then once you reach, they're all walking this way. You just on your side, and you start walking like this. Walk like this until you make your way in close to the Kaaba. Close to the Kaaba, you make the niyyah right before you reach the Hajar al-Aswad, the black stone. Yes.
So your left shoulder the Kaaba, and you still need to look at the Kaaba, right?
No, you don't look at the Kaaba. You could. There's no problem with turning your shoulder, turning your neck, but your shoulder cannot go like this.
But can you look like left and right?
You could be on your phone. You could talk to people. You could do all that thing, but you can't turn your shoulder from the Kaaba. So you have to make sure you're doing this. You're in a state of ibadah. You're just walking in a counterclockwise, right? It's yes, counterclockwise motion around the Kaaba. Okay. Now let me see what was.
What if you get like pushed and stuff? You just reorient yourself.
Yes, try to. So don't turn your shoulder around. You can't be like, I'm here, come this way or something. You just, if you want to talk to someone, just be like, I'm here. Let them hear you, see you, but you don't turn around. You just be like, come this way. I'm here. You signal to them. Okay. Do you need wudu for the tawaf? Yes. Do you need wudu for the sa'i? You don't need wudu for the sa'i. So now you have to go 7 times around the Kaaba. So what does this mean? You started at Hajar al-Aswad. You go 1 time around. When you reach it again, that's 1. Then you go again.
You don't need another niyyah.
No, you don't need another niyyah. Then you go again, that's the 2nd time. A 3rd time, a 4th time, you finish the 7th time at Hajar al-Aswad. Use a ring or use a counter, because it's going to get confusing, especially or there's du'as. Dua al-shawt al-awwal, dua al-shawt al-thani, dua al-shawt al-thalith. Read the dua of each shawt, each time that you go. That way you'll know exactly where you're at.
Do you read it while you're walking, or when you...
Yeah, read it. Read it from your phone. Read it from the book that you have. And then after you finish that, then you read other du'as. Any du'a that you want to read, you could read. So then you keep track of where you're at. If you lost track between the 3rd or the 4th, what happens? Becomes void. Becomes void. It becomes void. Anywhere you doubt in the tawaf, you have to start over. Yes. But if you lost your wudu from the 1st round to the 4th round, then that makes it batil. But if you lost your wudu after the 4th, or you had to go use the restroom, you had to leave, then you could come back and finish at the 4th. Okay? So the 4th is the line. If you'd reached it, then you could continue. But if you didn't reach it, then you
The fourth has to be done. Then you talk about fifth, sixth, and seventh.
yes. Yeah. But try to, that's why before leaving, use the restroom, do whatever you had to do so that you are in the state of wudu. Some people, they get pushed. I remember one time we did the tawaf, someone came and he said, I got pushed, I lost my wudu in the middle of the... So don't hide it and get embarrassed or something. This is something because you have another a'mal that is built upon this. You can't do the next one until you have done this. So you need to go, that's it. This is Hajj. You've paid all this money, make sure you're doing it correctly. Yes, Hajj Haidar.
So use the book, do not use the phone, because you'll lose it. There's a big chance that you'll drop it.
Well, if you have it in your hand, it's okay. I mean, but it's, yeah, you don't wanna do something that might, if you might drop it, then don't take it in there. Any other questions? Okay. The intention is I circumambulate around the Kaaba 7 times for Umrah al-Tamattu', Hajj al-Tamattu', Hajj al-Islam, qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. After you finish the tawaf, where do you go? You do the salah, the 2 rak'ah prayer. Each tawaf is 7. I remember one time someone said, yeah, I wanted to do extra, so I did 8 times around the, can you do 8 times? You can't. This is tawaf. It's like saying I prayed Fajr prayer 3 rak'ahs this time. This is ta'abbud. You have to do exactly what you're supposed to do. Then you go and you do the 2 rak'ah tawaf. Can you say I did the tawaf but I don't feel like I don't have time to do the 2 rak'ah? No, they come together. You go and you do the 2 rak'ah. The 2 rak'ah prayer, وَاتَّخِذُوا مِن مَقَامِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ مُصَلَّى. You go and you pray at Maqam Ibrahim. So what does that mean? That means Maqam Ibrahim should be in front of you and the Kaaba should be further ahead. So you go, that area is crowded and all people, they go and they pray there. So you go somewhere and try to pray where Maqam Ibrahim is in front of you. Try to have it as close as like right in front of you, but if it's like right here, it's in front of you, it still counts. You're in the position of Maqam Ibrahim. And the niyyah is, I pray, أصلي ركعتين صلاة الطواف لعمرة التمتع لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام. I pray 2 rak'ahs, the salah of tawaf for عمرة التمتع, حج التمتع, حج الإسلام, قربة إلى الله تعالى. When you finish this, now you finished the half of the Umrah al-Tamattu'. Now you have 1 half that's left, which is the sa'i. The sa'i you have to do. And here we go to the next. Now go drink some water. You're going to be tired. You're going to be really exhausted, sweaty. It's going to be really tough. But if salat time came, salat al-fajr, because maybe you came late, salat time came, you pray, and then you have to do the sa'i right away. They're connected with one another. You can't say, I'm kind of tired right now. Let me go home. Let me go to the hotel, and then I'll do the sa'i later. The tawaf and the sa'i, they're together. So, but if prayer time came or you want to rest for a little while, you can. But you can't just leave it for another time. So, you drink some Zamzam water, go to the mas'a. The mas'a from Maqam Ibrahim, turn around. You ask, which way is Safa? Which way is Safa? You go towards the mas'a. And this time, you have 2 mountains, Safa and Marwa. Inna Safa wal Marwata min sha'air Allah. These 2 mountains, they are from the sha'air of Allah. These bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Safa is closer to the Kaaba. So if you're standing on Safa, you could see the Kaaba. But Marwa is a little bit further out. And it's you have to start at Safa. You start at Safa, and this is the same thing. You have to, you go back and forth 7 times. So you start at Safa, you go to Marwa, that counts as 1. Then from Marwa, you come back to Safa, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You finish at Marwa. Also counts with this. There's also du'as for the sa'i as well. The sa'i will probably take longer. There's a place in the middle of the mas'a. You see green lights as well. This, for the men, they have to hurdle. You have to kind of go a little bit faster. You're going to see people going faster. This, there's 2 opinions. One is that Hajar, when she used to hear Ismail crying, so she used to start running. She used to start running when she hears Ismail crying. That's why it's mustahab for men, of course, to hurdle. Another says that Rasulullah, when he went to do Umrah the first time, when he went to do Umrah, and the kuffar, they were all watching. This was before he took over Mecca. He did a Umrah once. The kuffar, they were all watching. He reached a place where they were all sitting and watching. He tells the Muslims, start running, hurdling, to show them strength, to show them power. And they do that. And the ground starts shaking. So it's you know, that moment, being in Mas'a, the hadith says, the best location, the most ashraf buq'a, or the best location for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on earth is bayna as-Safa wal Marwa. Why? Because this is the place of ubudiyah. This is the place where you actually feel, I'm a slave of God. Where you have to go run between these two mountains for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So once again, you can't turn your shoulder. So when you're walking, Safa is behind you, you're walking to Marwa, you have to walk straight. That's it. You can't turn your shoulder, hey guys, what's going on, or something like that. You walk, and it's a state of ubudiyah. You reach Marwa, here's Safa, and here's Marwa, and here's the Kaaba. So there's a mountain here, and then there's a mountain here. Before, people used to be able to go like this and come back like this. Now, they've done a huge expansion of the Mas'a. And similarly with Masjid al-Haram, there's a huge expansion. So now what they've done is, these are connected to one another, but this is only one way. The return is here. It's not between Safa and Marwa anymore. So now, majority of the scholars, they say, there's nothing that you could do about it, because the return is here. But what you could do is try to stay as close as possible to the left. Try to stay as close as possible between these, so that you are somewhat between Safa and Marwa. You have to try to make sure that you're staying as close as possible. Don't go all the way out here, because you're not doing sa'i between Safa and Marwa anymore. Is that clear? Okay, and then there's another thing. There was a time this used to be one floor, one level. Now they've added a basement, and they've added second and third levels. Which level do you have to do your sa'i in? The ground level. The ground level, that is the original level that you do. If you they sent you to the basement, that would be also okay. But being on top, you have to try to touch with your feet, touch the mountain. Of course, they've put this fence here and here. They don't let you kind of like really touch the mountain, but you'll feel the elevation. You're going a little bit higher, and then you turn around. So once you reach Marwa, make sure that you have reached it. Some people, before they reach Marwa, the ground hasn't even gone up, they turn around. Go up a little bit, and then turn around, and then start going back. Okay? So then, once you've done that, you end at Marwa at the 7th time. Now you do what is called taqsir. Taqsir. That will take you out of the state of ihram. So here, one other thing that you should add with you in that bag is a small scissors. Small scissors you carry with you. One person for the group. For example, we had a group of 40 people. We had 2 people with scissors. You don't need to have everyone carrying scissors with them. You do the taqsir for yourself. You could, if you're a man, you could cut from your beard, from your hair. You do the uqassiru. You say, I do the taqsir lil ihlal, to get out of the state of ihram. Lil ihlal min ihram umrat al-tamattu', hajj al-tamattu', hajj al-islam, qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. I do taqsir to get out of the state of ihram, qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala, and then you cut. Can you cut someone else's before you've done yours? No, because you can't cut any hair. But you do yours, and then you could cut someone else's. You have to, that's what you do. Once you do that, you do the taqsir, then the umrah al-tamattu' is finished. Your umrah al-tamattu' is complete. Don't shave. There are some guys, they do the umrah, they go and they shave. What hairs are you going to leave for the hajj? You're gonna have to do hajj after. That's when you do the halq in Mina for the hajj. Now you have to just cut a little bit, just a few strands of hair. That would be enough as well. It's mustahab to, especially for the men, to grow out your hair before the hajj. so that when you shave, when you cut, you have enough hair to cut, right? Yes. Hajj Haidar, keep your comments to yourself. Yallah. So now, should we stop here or should we talk about Hajj al-Tamattu'? I'm fine. Yes. Well, you can't, the Jabal, there's a place where you can't go, but you'll feel the elevation. You'll feel it start going up, so yes, your foot should touch it, yes. No, you won't be able to go around it because there's like a wall here. There's a wall here. So what you do is you go up as close as you can. You'll feel like here it starts elevating. So you start feeling the elevation, go a little bit higher, and then turn around. And same with here as well. Like some people, they turn here before the elevation starts. Try to feel a little bit of the elevation. Yes. Yes, brother. It's in the masjid. It's in the same vicinity. So it will take you 2-3 minutes to walk from where the tawaf finished. You go all the way to Safa. Yeah. You have to ask them because there's construction. Tell them which way is Safa, and you walk between towards Safa. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So you need to keep track. But if you're with a group, try to record or think about it. But if you really don't know, then it becomes batil. If you have doubt, you could always, try to okay, if I'm at Marwa now, because from Safa to Marwa, that counts as one. When you're back, that's the second. Yes. Some people, they do a whole circle, and then they started counting one.
It's written there, isn't it? I think it's written there, Safa al-Marwa.
No, it's written. He's asking if you forgot where you were.
Which one you're on, you are going to see.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
which
say you're on like third one.
third one,
Yeah.
fourth one. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that's
Okay. So now, it depends on when you're arriving. Usually when we go with a group, we arrive and then we have a few days to rest in Mecca. You have a few days. So these days, go every day to Masjid al-Haram. Don't spend too much time at the stores, but it's okay to go shopping a little. Yes.
one question. When we are doing the sa'i, usually in tawaf, I hear it is much easier, but in sa'i, it takes longer, especially during Hajj time. So say, for example, you have plantar fasciitis or something, flat feet, and you're wearing something.
You're allowed to wear shoes in sa'i. You're allowed to wear shoes in sa'i. Yes. Yes. You stay for a few days, depending on your travel. Yes. So as soon as you do the taqsir, you take off the ihram. You go to the hotel, take a shower, you put on your cologne, your deodorant, all of these you could do, no problem. Then every day you go to Masjid al-Haram. You go to Masjid al-Haram, do ibadah, do worship, try to do your salahs in Masjid al-Haram. Then, now, you get ready for the Hajj. So sometime, usually we go to Hajj, they give us about 5-6 days, and then the Hajj begins, or 4 days until the Hajj begins. So I don't know about how long your travel is but technically, as soon as you get out of the state of Ihram for Umrah al-Tamattu', you could re-enter into the state of Ihram to do the Hajj if you got there late, for example. But the Hajj is on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah. You need to be in Arafat. So I don't know what day you guys are arriving there of Dhul Hijjah. Maybe 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Yes. So here you need to enter into the state of Ihram. If your Ihram became dirty, you go wash it or buy a new one. Now you need to do Hajj al-Islam. You did Umrah al-Tamattu'. Now you need to do Hajj al-Tamattu'. So how do you do Hajj al-Tamattu'? You need to enter into the state of Ihram once again. Once again, you need to wear the Ihram. So where do you enter into the state of Ihram? You enter into the state of Ihram in Masjid al-Haram. If a lady is on her menstrual cycle and she couldn't enter into Masjid al-Haram, she could do it outside. Furthermore, to add to, just to explain this, if a lady was on her menstrual cycle and they went into the Umrah and she could not do the tawaf, then someone goes and does the tawaf on her. She gives wakala for someone to do the tawaf on her behalf, and the salatul tawaf, the sa'i she could do herself. The sa'i is not a part of the masjid, she could do herself. But a lady cannot enter into the Masjid al-Haram while on the menstrual cycle during the hayd. So now you go there and you do the niyyah. You go there and you do the niyyah. And the niyyah is أحرم لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. I enter into the state of ihram for Hajj al-Tamattu'. You don't say Umrah al-Tamattu' because you've done the Umrah now. For Hajj al-Tamattu', Hajj al-Islam قربة إلى الله تعالى. And then you say labbaik Allahumma labbaik once again. Yes.
You said you do it inside the masjid? Like there's places where you
No, anywhere. You go anywhere in Masjid al-Haram by the Kaaba, you sit. The 8th, you do this on the 8th at night. 8th of the Hajj at night. Of course, if maybe the Saudi government announced 8th over there is one day and for you it's another day, you follow along with what they're doing. You follow because the Quran says, وَأَفِيضُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَفَاضَ النَّاسِ. Yes.
Do we go back to Masjid al-Shajara?
No. Masjid al-Shajara is in Mina, in Medina. You're done with that.
I mean, for miqat, or do we go
No more miqat. You've already entered into Mecca. You've done the Umrah al-Tamattu'. You're in Mecca. Now you just go to Masjid al-Haram and you wear the ihram once again. You do the niyyah of entering into ihram once again. Where those 25 things become forbidden upon you. أحرموا. I enter into the state of ihram for Hajj al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Islam, قربة إلى الله تعالى, لبيك اللهم لبيك, لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك, إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك, لا شريك لك لبيك. Now, yes, brother.
So like you said, you enter into the mosque like on the third day, and Hajj is on 8th, 9th. So what do you do during the days? I mean, what you can go to the
You go to the Masjid al-Haram, you pray, you wear your normal clothes and you go. You could do tawaf. You could do mustahab tawaf. Mustahab tawaf, anytime you enter in Masjid al-Haram, you could do tawaf. You could do one tawaf, like 7 rounds, and then another 7 rounds, and however much energy you have, you could do. Or you could just sit and look at the Kaaba. النظر إلى الكعبة عبادة. Tahiyyat al-Masjid, any masjid that you enter in, the Tahiyyat al-Masjid is a 2 rak'ah prayer. But the tahiyyah of Masjid al-Haram is tawaf. So go, do tawaf. If you saw it's crowded, wait until it kind of, the tawaf, the wajib tawafs that you have to do are 3. 1 for the Umrah and 2 for the Hajj. But other than that, you could do as many tawafs as you want. Yes. But no sa'i. Sa'i is not done, only in the state of ihram. Or there's only sa'i for Umrah and sa'i for Hajj. You can't say, okay, I'm in the mood to do mustahab sa'i as well. Sa'i is tawaf is what you do. Yes.
between our Umrah Tamattu and Hajj Tamattu, we cannot do Umrah, say if we want to gift it to someone. We cannot. Those 5 days, if we want to
No.
do another
During that time, you're already in Umrah al-Tamattu'. You're already tied. Basically, that's because you didn't do Tawaf al-Nisa. Remember when we did Umrah Mufrada, we did Tawaf al-Nisa, and then we started another Umrah for someone else. But now you're waiting for the Hajj. This is why it's called Umrah al-Tamattu'. Tamattu', this is, you can't do another Umrah until you do the Hajj. After the Hajj, you could do another Umrah. Yes. So here, you go to Masjid al-Haram or outside, wherever, like close to Masjid al-Haram, you do the niyyah. Then you get in the bus, you get in the car. This time it's probably going to be a bus. You have to figure out, because they're going to take you to Arafat. When do you have to be in Arafat? On the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, the day of Arafah. You have to make sure you're in Arafat before noontime. Typically what we do is on the 8th at night, the 8th, the day before Arafah, we enter into the state of Ihram, and all of the Hujjaj, they go to Arafat, they sleep that night in Arafat, in the tents that they have available for them in Arafat. So you need to see how your group, the accommodation, how they're going to set it up. Maybe they give you the address of the tent. Because over there, it's like a campground. There's tents. It's all numbered. So you need to figure out how you're going to how you're going to get there. Usually we go with a group. The group just takes us in a bus, and they tell you this is your tent. So what do you need? Before we used to have to buy sleeping bag. Now you go and you see there's like a couch that turns into a bed, and there's bathrooms and all of these things. But take the necessary things that you need: a prayer mat, your turba, your sibha, your phone charger, slippers for the sisters if you want to go use the restroom or something. The men you're already wearing slippers. But pack light. Don't pack something heavy because you have to go to Arafat, Muzdalifah, Mina. This time it's much longer in Ihram. Before it was just a couple hours. You're in the car from Masjid al-Shajara, you go, you do the A'mal, and that's it. Maybe 7 hours, 8 hours, and you're out of Ihram. This time you're going to be in Ihram, Arafat, and Muzdalifah, and in Mina in the morning on the day of Eid. After the Rami, you get out of the Ihram. So you do the niyyah in Masjid al-Haram, and then you say talbiyah, and then you go to Arafat. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no.
You said 1 week and then we do the tafsir, we are out of ihram.
Yes.
Correct? What about the 25 things? Are they still?
All are valid. All are valid.
Haven't done tawaf on this?
Tawaf an-Nisa, you're going to do it after the Hajj. Because remember, we did the Umrah. When we did the Umrah, if you're not doing the Hajj, you have to do Tawaf an-Nisa right away. Otherwise, you can't get married. But now, everything becomes, here's the difference where Sunnis and Shias, there's a difference. Umar, he made mut'at al-Hajj haram. So it's haram for a man to marry his wife, to have a relationship with his wife, between the Umrah al-Tamattu' and Hajj al-Tamattu'. He said it's haram. But during the time of the Prophet, sometimes there were people, they entered into Mecca, they have a month left until Hajj. So it was not made haram. So everything becomes okay, even if you haven't done Tawaf an-Nisa yet. Everything is okay. Then you will do Tawaf an-Nisa after the Hajj. Yes, go ahead. This is the time to ask.
So once we do the niyyah for Hajj Tamattu, are we doing tawaf again before going to Arafat? Or no? We are just making the niyyah and leaving.
You don't need to do Tawaf now, no. In 2 days, in 1 day, then she does the A'mal. So, these are all things. Then you go to Arafat. Arafat, technically, the 9th of the Hijjah, you need to be in Arafat. But typically what we do is we go the 8th. The night before, there's A'mal, Laylat Arafah as well, dua. Go get settled in your tent. Find a place that's comfortable. Put your sajada next to you. Do some dua, do some A'mal. And now, in Arafat, at noontime, on the 9th of the Hijjah, noontime, you say, أقف في عرفات. I stand in Arafat, or you don't have to technically be standing, but I'm in Arafat لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. So between noon and Maghrib time, you need to be in Arafat. That time, you have to be in Arafat. And the hadith of Rasulullah, he says, Al-Hajju Arafah. Hajj is Arafah. All the Hajjaj, they have to go in Arafat, of desert, and that's it, a place of ibadah. There, Arafat, you admit your sins to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You recite the dua of Imam al-Hussein. You recite the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein. You do istighfar. And then the hadith says, when the sun sets on the day of Arafat, it sets with the sins of everyone who's in Arafat. This is a promise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, Allah will forgive the sins of those who are in Arafat. So you stay from noon until Maghrib time. At Maghrib time, you go towards Muzdalifah, al-Mash'ar al-Haram. So Mecca is here, Arafat is here, and then Muzdalifah is here, and Mina is here. So what you're doing is you're going all the way to Arafat, and then you're coming slowly back to Muzdalifah. Here you collect the stones in Arafat. This is where you stay the 9th of the Hijjah. Then the 9th at night and 10th in the morning, Eid day in the morning, you wake up in Muzdalifah. At night after Maghrib, you go to Muzdalifah. You sleep the night in Muzdalifah. You stay the night in Muzdalifah. This time here, there were tents, You have nice bathrooms, you have all these things. Here, you just get a mountain. You don't get anything. It's the Mash'ar al-Haram. So, in Muzdalifah, you get there at night. What is your duty? What do you have to do in Muzdalifah? In Muzdalifah, it's a desert with no tents. You're just going to see people sleeping on the ground. This is why I recommend you buy yourself a sleeping bag. A small sleeping bag, nothing big. Small sleeping bag, because in Muzdalifah, you need a place to put your head on. You need a place to lay on. So you get yourself a sleeping bag, and you could probably use it in Arafat. And then in Muzdalifah, you get there, you have to stay the night. Another very important task that you have is there, you have to collect the pebbles. You collect the pebbles. Each hajar has to be no larger than the top part of your forefinger. So this big. You don't go get a big rock. You go and you get something, a small one, and you have to stay in Muzdalifah that night. Laylatul Eid. So 9th at night, and the next day in the morning is 10th in the morning. Eid al-Adha. You get up, you pray the Fajr prayer. Some people, they're going to be able to sleep. You're going to be tired. Some people, they fall asleep. Wherever, you just have to make sure you're in Muzdalifah. There's a sign that says, this is the Muzdalifah border. This is the Mina border. This is Arafah border. You have to make sure you're in there. Sometimes, these tents that they give you through this package, they give you a tent in Mina that's outside of Mina. If your tent is outside of the borders of Mina, you have to go and sit on the bridge. You have to go and sit inside, figure out a place to be. So you have to make sure you're in Mina or in Muzdalifah or in Arafat during that time. So you collect the stone, you stay that night, you collect the stones, you collect about 100. Because on the day of Eid, you're going to need 7. And then the next day, the 11th, so this is the 10th of the Hijjah. And then on the 11th, you need 7, 7, 7, 21. Because the first day you're only hitting the big one. Then the next day you're the small, middle, big. And the 12th, you're also 21. So, because you're hitting all 7. So you collect at least 100, because you might lose some. You might, some might fall, whatever it is. And you stay in Muzdalifah all the way until sunrise. So Fajr prayer, some people you're going to see, they prayed Fajr and they start walking to Mina. Can you walk to Mina yet? No, you wait until sunrise. Wait until the sun rises. Look up what time sunrise. This is the 10th, 8th day in the morning. You stay until sunrise. So between Fajr and sunrise, do the niyyah once again. أقفوا في مزدلفة إلى طلوع الشمس لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. I stand in Muzdalifah until sunrise for Hajj al-Tamattu', for Hajj al-Islam قربة إلى الله تعالى. After the sun rises, then you could start walking. Now in Muzdalifah, women do not need to stay that night. It's not a really comfortable place. Women, they went to, during the time of the Prophet and others, they would send the women to go to Mina that night, the night of Eid, because it gets really crowded on the day of Eid. Everyone's trying to do the Rami at the same time. So the women are allowed to go. But if you're just 3 people, I wouldn't recommend, separating from the woman with you. Just get yourself ready and try to figure things out. But usually when we had a group, we have 100 people. One guy, he volunteers to take a bus of the elderly or those who are unable to stay. But if you're able to just stick together for a couple of hours, because you have the next day, Mina, you have to be together. You don't want to separate. I would highly advise against separating from one another. You want, especially if you're just a group of 5-6 people, you're not that much, stick with one another. So now from Muzdalifah, you got your pebbles, and you got your, you stayed the night, and you stayed between Fajr and sunrise. You stayed between Fajr and sunrise. There might be buses going from Arafah to Muzdalifah. Probably your package has a bus. After Maghrib, get on the bus. Or you could stay a little bit late, like till 12 o'clock or something, and then go. So because here, finding bathrooms in Muzdalifah is going to be really difficult. There's a long line. There's no really place to stay. In Arafat, they have a tent. So make sure, like, be as comfortable as, use the restroom, do whatever you have to do in Arafat, and then go to Muzdalifah and carry a bottle of water with you. Some people, there's no time to go to the bathroom. They just go behind the mountain. So here, you're in Muzdalifah. After sunrise, what do? There's buses going to the camps in Mina. Mina has camps. It has tents. But I've never done that. What we do is we just start walking straight to Mina. It's about a 40-minute walk, an hour walk, but the sun is coming up. So it's going to be hot. So you want to, as soon as sun rises, start walking before it gets too hot. You start walking, and you're walking with millions of Hujjaj. They're all walking in that direction. They're all walking. This is where it gets dangerous sometimes. The other year, people were killed on this day. There was a stampede because they had everyone going all in one direction. So you have to be very careful. And while you're walking to Mina, there's tents that they have prepared for you. If you're really tired, you could go to the tent, you could go take a shower, you could do whatever you want, and then go do the Rami. But I would advise for you to just go straight to the Jamarat. So when you reach the Jamarat, you're walking to Mina, you're going to see like a big complex, a huge bridge, a big complex. That's where the Jamarat are. When you're walking in that complex, I think it's 5 stories now. It's 6 levels now. You have to make sure that you are doing the Rami on the original floor. You're not doing it upstairs, 2nd or 3rd or 4th. Sometimes you're walking and then you see yourself, I'm on a ramp. It's going up now. Depending on the route that they put you on. If you saw yourself on the ramp going up, it's okay. There's stairs. There's elevators or stairs near the Jamarat. But you're going to have to walk a distance. You're going to get there. Then you could go down. So, because they might not let you turn around and get in the other road. So, you walk, then you're going to see the Jamara Sughra, the small Jamara, Shaitan. It's a wall. It's a big wall. It used to be one narrow column. Now they've made it a huge wall. Then you're going to see the middle one, Al-Wusta. Then you're going to see the large one, Al-Aqaba or Jamara Al-Kubra. That is on the day of Eid, you only need to do Rami of that one. You only need to do Rami of that one. So here, when you reach the Jamara, you go and you stand in the middle. See, it's a wall. Now you're in Mina. It's a wall, and it's like all like this. You need to try to hit it in the middle, because this is where the original one used to be. Because the wall, it wasn't this big. It used to be one narrow one, and people are hitting from all sides, and you have the stones from people hitting on the other sides coming and hitting you.
And this is the Jamra Soul.
No, they're all the same size. They're all the same size, but you have to hit the middle, because that's where the original one was. So you try to estimate, like don't hit it on the side. Just go to the middle.
Does it have to
The stoning.
have to hit?
Try your best to hit the middle. But yes, you have to see the stone hitting the wall. You have to see it. You have to be sure that it hit. If you're not sure, then you hit another one until you are sure. Yes, but you can't. If you're sure that you reach 7, you can't say, I don't like this shaitan. He's really been, let me hit the 8th one. No, you can't. It's ta'abbud. You have to hit 7. So if you know you hit 7, you can't hit more. Yes.
So like if we have shak regarding 1, we can hit another one.
Yes. Just for shak, but not for, I'm really upset with him. Something like that. It's going to be very crowded. Don't go with your phone. Here's where you don't take a phone. Don't take money. Don't take anything. Don't carry a bag. Carry them in your hand or whatever. It's really crowded. You have people, they're doing this, and you're walking. You're gonna get hit in the head. You might get hit in the back of the head. This is where people have died before. Slippers, you're going to see a mountain of slippers on the ground. It's really crowded. It's really crowded. People, especially for men, if you get on your ihram, you fall, it's really difficult. So what you do is you go in slowly, and wudu is not required here, of course. It's shaitan. You don't need wudu for shaitan. So then you go in, try to get as close as possible to the wall. There are some people, the wall is over here and they're hitting from far. Some people, they get upset with shaitan, they're throwing their shoes at shaitan. So you can't do that. You get as close as possible and just get yourself in there. Get yourself in there. There's people running and laughing and crying and doing all these things. You get in there slowly, put your head down because there's hands going up. You get in there, then you see the wall right in front of you. You're in the middle. You go right away. This, sometimes it's a very easy operation, and sometimes it could be deadly. So you and your luck, man. Yes. Inshallah, you defeat shaitan, and shaitan does not defeat you. Yes, sister. Yes. So the niyyah is, I do the rami of the jamarat, the jamar al-kubra, for Hajj al-tamattu', for Hajj al-Islam, qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. And then you go ahead and you do it. You don't have to for each single one. And you say, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar with everyone that you throw. You could, or you don't have to. If you ran out of stones, what do? There's a lot on the ground. Can you pick them up? No, because those have already been used. You ask someone else for stones. You ask someone else for stones. Yeah, some people are carrying more. So for each person, let them carry at least 100. That way you have enough. On the third day, or maybe someone lost their stones, but you have to try to carry enough. Now, if you lost, you don't have access, you could, from Mecca, some people from the mountains in Mecca, they could get stones. So you could always go back to Mecca and get stones. No, you're going to go back to Mecca during those 3 days. Because you have 3 days of Rami. For the next time, yes.
You're talking about all 10 days.
This is on the 10th day, the day of Eid. So you walked from Mina, from Muzdalifah to Mina. The first thing you need to do in Mina is you need to go and do the stoning. Okay? You do the stoning. At the Jamarat, you only do the big one. There's 3, you only do the big one. The next day, the 11th, you have to do the small, middle, large. The third day, small, middle, large, before noon.
Where you going when you finish first day? You go back to...
I'll explain to you. Yeah, no, you go back to Mecca. Or your tent in Mina, however you feel like doing. Until noon time. Try to do it before noon. But you have until Maghrib. Say, someone couldn't do it, you have until Maghrib time to do it. So if right now you went, you saw it's really crowded, do it later. Then there's the very important thing. Yeah, you could go to your tent. The camp, they have a tent prepared for you. It's better equipped than the ones in Arafat. In Muzdalifah, there's nothing. In Arafat, there's a good tent. In Mina, they have actual permanent tents because people are staying there for 3-4 days. So they've actually have permanent tents for you. So you do the Rami of the big one. Now, the other thing that you need to arrange before you go, you need to call someone reliable, someone that you trust, and you need to tell them, I give you wakala to do the sheep slaughtering for me. After the Rami, they need to do the dhibh, the slaughtering. So now you're in the state of ihram. You're still in the state of ihram. Everything is haram upon you. You've only done the Rami in Mina. You need to have the sheep slaughtered for you. Before, people used to have sheep with them in Mina and they go and they slaughter. Now the maslakh, the place of slaughtering, is even outside Mina. What we need to do is you need to find a Shia group. If your marja allows, I don't know, some maraja, they allow you to do it overseas. You just call, okay, I did the Rami, now do my dhibh for me. Do my slaughtering for me at this time. If your marja doesn't allow, say Sistani, others, they say it has to be done in that vicinity. So you arrange. There are some Shia groups, Shias in Qatif and other places. They have someone going on behalf of 100 people, 200 people, and they're doing the dhabh at the maslakh, at the slaughterhouse. So you need to give that person wakala, and you need to give that person the money of the dhabiha. So it's $100, $150. You give it to them ahead of time. Ahead of time. He's not going to do it for you if you don't give it to him. And you need to give him your name. He adds you to the list. Then you finish the rami. You tell him, Hajj Fulan, I finished the rami. Now I want you to do the dhabh for me. He'll tell you, okay, we have 100 left to go. Your name is we're going to start right now. So, or we're waiting for this group to finish the rami until we begin the process. So then he calls you, or you call him. You have to tell him, did you finish the rami? They'll call. They'll say, okay, the rami has been done for this person, this person, this person, this person. As soon as they tell you the rami has been, the dhabh, the slaughter has been done on your behalf, then you shave. And for the sisters, you do the taqsir and you get out of ihram. And that needs to be done in Mina. It cannot be done outside of Mina.
They go back to the tent and shave.
Yes, yes. So you're going to see barbers all over, or you could do it yourself. But what you need to do is, after you do the rami of the big one, this is probably going to take a couple hours by the time they do the dhabh for you. Because you're not in control of the situation. Someone else has to do the slaughtering for you. And you need to wait for their call. So my advice, now you go to the tent. Figure out what your where your tent is. From the Jamarat, walk to the tent. Walk to the tent, rest in the tent, put your phone in the charger, take a shower. You're still in ihram, but you could take a shower, you could do all of these things. There's a tent for the men, tent for the women, the same campground. You're going to see people, they're shaving, people, they're doing all that, but you cannot shave until the dhabiha has been done for you. So once the dhabiha has been done for you, and that's something that you need to arrange when you're there. Find a Shia group, call, find someone. Some maraja allow. I don't know, Sayyid Sistani doesn't. I don't know about the others, whether they allow. Like I remember, for example, Nasser Makaram, I believe he used to allow doing it outside of, like doing it in a poor country, for example, in Iraq and Iran. But others, they say you have to probably do it over there. So figure out or we could look it up later, what each marja says. Then they do the dhabiha. They call you. They say we've done the dhabiha. Then you could do get out of do the taqsir for the sisters, and for the brothers that it's their first time going to Hajj. You have to shave. You have to shave, and you don't like cut and then shave. No, it needs to be basically you start shaving like right away. You start shaving. Like that's the first thing that you begin with, and there's barbers over there that'll do that. Then you could get out of the state of ihram. So now you've done the stoning, and they've done the slaughtering of the sheep for you. You could do the halq and the taqsir, and that needs to be on the day of Eid. Okay, now you've exited the state of ihram. Now you could go wear your dishdasha. You could go wear your clothes. Or a lot of people that you haven't carried clothes with you. You're because you left your belongings, everything at the hotel. You're still in ihram. But now you could get out of Mina. You could get out of Mina and you go to the hotel. Here, you walk outside the borders of Mina. There's taxis outside. Yeah, figure out which way is Mecca. But here, this is a decision you need to make. Where because you need to that night, the night of Eid, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Going back to Mecca is going to take you probably 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and even more, if your hotels are in Mecca. If you're in Aziziyah, it's a walk to Aziziyah. This is where being in Aziziyah benefits you. But if you're in Mecca, you're staying in the hotel in Mecca, my advice for you is to stay in the tent in Mina. Why? Because that night, 10th at night, so the eve of the 11th, you need to stay in Mina. for half the night, either from Maghrib all the way till midnight, or from midnight to Fajr. You need to stay in Mina that night, okay? And the eve of the 12th, also, once again, you need to have mabit fi Mina, either from Maghrib till midnight or from midnight till Fajr. So you should figure out what is easier for you. If the slaughtering of the sheep is taking a while, then it's you don't have time to go back. Unless you go back and you come back for the second half of the night. From at 12 o'clock, like at midnight, Shara'i midnight, you have to be in the borders of Mina until Fajr. But typically, what we do is if they delayed the process of calling and they're saying, we haven't slaughtered the sheep yet, you have to stay in Mina, you can't leave. You could leave, but you'll still be in the state of ihram. You could go back to Mecca to the hotel, and then once they call you, they tell you, we did the slaughter for you, then you go back the next day, then you do the halq or the taqsir. So
I think it's better to stay in Mina. That's what everyone is saying on the 10th, because they have food, they have showers, they have everything.
yes, but maybe this is where you need to arrange with someone to slaughter for you. If they take a long time to slaughter, maybe some people they're going to slaughter on the 12th, on the 11th day. So here, you don't want to stay in Mina. You're just going to be in the state of ihram. Go back to the hotel. Go rest in the hotel. But what you need to do, I'll give you the obligations in Mina and the obligations in Mecca. So in Mina, you need to stay the 10th at night, half the night, either the first half or the second half. And the 12th, you also need to stay half the night. Can you go to the next slide, please? So, and then go to the next slide and put it on the screen, please. Yes.
Like if you stay the first half, then
Mina, go to Mina day 2 and day 3.
So you're staying in Mina
Yes, this one. What is it?
2
so
nights.
when you stay half of the night, then what do you do with the other half?
Yeah, you go back to Mecca. Because you have two things that you need to do. You have obligations in Mina and you have obligations in Mecca. In Mina, during the time of the Prophet, people they stayed the whole 3 days in Mina. But you don't have time. Your travel is soon. So and you have access to a car. So what we do is we do both at the same time. We do the tawaf and the sa'i and the tawaf, and we come back, we stay the night, and in the morning we do the rami. But what needs to be done in Mina is on the 10th day you have the rami, okay? And then the 10th at night, you stay either half the night or the other half, or you could stay the whole night if you want. You're tired, just sleep the whole night. And in the morning, the 11th day in the morning, so the day after Eid, you have Rami al-Jamarat, this time 3 of them. So after dawn, after Fajr, you do the small one and the middle one and the big one. And on the 12th day, that night you also need to stay half the night or the first half or the second half. And then on the 12th day, you also need to do the Rami of the Jamarat, the small, the middle, and the big. Then you wait in Mina until noontime. Once you hear Allahu Akbar, you walk out of Mina and Hajj is over. So the part of Mina is done. But now, can you go to the next slide, please? Now you have the necessary acts to perform in Mecca. So this, you could do it whenever you want. You could do it after the days in Mina are over, or you could do it during. So for example, you're staying half the night. You stayed from 6 to 12 to midnight. From Maghrib to midnight. Then you say, okay, I have the energy now. Why should I stay here? Tomorrow morning, I have to be back in Mina for the Rami, but I'm going to go and do my tawaf. I have tawaf to do. So what do you need to do in Mecca? You need to do tawaf al-Hajj. So just like the Umrah had 1 tawaf and 1 sa'i, this one you have 1 tawaf. أطوف حول البيت 7 أشواط لحج التمتع لحج الإسلام قربة إلى الله تعالى. This is the tawaf of the Hajj. And then you do the 2 rak'ah prayer. And then you do the sa'i from Safa to Marwa. You keep going back 7 times. After you do the tawaf al-Hajj and the sa'i, now you could put on cologne, you could take a shower, you could do all that. So some people, the day of Eid, they're really tired. They say, you know what, I'm just going to go and do that. But they have to have slaughtered for you, and you have to have done this, the tawaf and the sa'i. Then you could go take a shower. You could go with your normal clothes. Then you need to do also tawaf al-nisa. Tawaf al-nisa, you could do it the same day or you could do it the next day. If you're too tired, do it the next day. Tawaf al-nisa, the Sunnis, they call it tawaf al-wada', the farewell. But this tawaf, what it does is it makes you mahram to your wife again. So this is the most important tawaf in your life. I'm serious. So here, this is what you need to do. Then Hajj is over.
For both, right? They both have to do the
Yeah, they both have to do it, of course, yes. Yes, if they're both in the state of ihram. Yes,
After we do the Rami, we slaughter the sheep,
yes,
then we do the taqsir.
yes,
So now we are out of ihram when we do the taqsir, correct?
yes.
So this tawaf is done without,
Without ihram.
so we can do it in normal clothes?
You could do it in normal clothes. Tawaf al-Hajj and the Sa'i and Tawaf al-Nisa is done in normal clothes. The only tawaf that people do with the ihram is Tawaf al-Umrah, when you're entering.
But we are
Umrah
still not
al-Tamattu.
allowed to look at the mirror or
No, after you do the taqsir, you're allowed to look at the mirror, you're allowed to wear normal clothes. You can't do teeb. You can't put on, scents. You can't use shampoo that is scented until you do Tawaf al-Hajj and the Sa'i. And those go together. You can't say, I did the tawaf, I'm tired, I'll do the sa'i tomorrow. No, tawaf al-hajj and sa'i, they go together. But tawaf al-nisa could be done later. And once you do tawaf al-nisa, then marriage is allowed. So everything, the 25 things, most of them you could do after you do the taqsir or the halq. But the only thing that you cannot do is the scent. You do that becomes acceptable after Tawaf al-Hajj and the Sa'i, and the marriage is after Tawaf al-Nisa. Yes, brother.
This activity will happen on either 11th or 12th of Hajj.
Yes, yes. So some people, they have the energy. On the day of Eid, at night, they go and they spend half the night, in the first half of the night in Mina. They spend the night, then they were resting. In Mina, you don't have to do anything. You're sitting, you sleep, you do whatever. You don't need to be in a state of ibadah. Then what you do is, it became midnight. You say, okay, now let's go to Mecca. Let's go to Mecca. You get in a taxi, you go to Mecca, you go do the a'mal, you go do the tawaf and the sa'i and the tawaf, and then you go to the hotel, you sleep. Then before noon, you have to make sure the next day in the morning, before noon, you have to make sure you're in Mina to do the Rami again. Yes. And then that night, you need to spend half the night in Mina. And then the 12th at noon, you also do the Rami as well, before noon, but at noon, you leave Mina and Hajj is over. So these are the a'mal of the Hajj. That's it. There's one thing, some scholars, they say if you could not stay half the night in Mina, you have to spend the full night, meaning all the way from Maghrib all the way to Fajr, in the state of ibadah in Mecca. Can you stay awake that whole time? A lot of people, they say, yes, I don't want to go to Mina, it's too much, and then they end up falling asleep. So if you're going to fall asleep in Mina. Don't fall asleep in Mecca, and then you end up missing your mabit in Mina. So, and you just need to spend half the night in Mina. Yes. Yes, sister.
we do salat raka'a after tawaf al-hajj.
Every tawaf has 2 rak'ah salah. Yes. Every tawaf is 7 ashwat and it has a 2 rak'ah salah.
Tawaf al-hajj and tawaf al-nisa,
Both. There's no tawaf without 2 rak'ahs. Yes.
I was going to say, when you said tawaf, you meant all 7 rounds, right? Not
Yes. When I say tawaf, I mean 7. Shawt means 1. But when I say tawaf, it means 7 times around the Kaaba.
two rakat for the whole 7.
Yes. No. 2 rak'ahs for the whole 7. For each tawaf.
midnight or 12.
No, Shar'i midnight. Yeah.
So you take half of from Maghrib,
Yeah.
from Maghrib to Fajr or Isha to Fajr?
Maghrib. Yes. Yes.
No sa'i after tawaf al-nisa.
No. Only sa'i after tawaf al-hajj. So you're gonna do sa'i twice during this trip. One after the umrah and one after the hajj. And then there's tawaf al-nisa you could do. Yes. You have to do.
Does everyone just tawaf al-nisa?
So we call it, the Shi'as, we call it tawaf al-nisa. The Sunnis, they call it tawaf al-wada'. It does the same thing. It's what, basically you're ending the hajj with it. Yes.
I'm just wondering if someone is not married.
Of course, because it's ibadah, but then they won't be able to get married. Yes. Even if you don't want to get married, you still have to do it. Yes. Yes. 12th of Dhul Hijjah, Hajj officially finishes. In Mina, if you have not done your a'mal of the Tawaf al-Hajj and Sa'i and Tawaf al-Nisa, you still have to do that. Typically, most people, like a lot of people, they start doing the a'mal after. But we go and we do them in the middle.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking because my package, I have to go to the airport on the 13th. So
Yeah.
I have to finish everything on 12.
You'll be done by 12. Most people, most of the time, you're done because you have from the 10th at night, 11th at night, and 12th at night. That's 3 nights. You could do the a'mal. You could do them. Usually we do it if the first night we were tired, we do it on the 12th at night. Like the eve, by the time of the Rami, we're done. The only problem this happens is if a lady cannot enter into Masjid al-Haram, then she waits or she has someone go on her behalf and do it. Yes. Yeah. No, sa'i a lady could do, but the tawaf she cannot enter into Masjid al-Haram. Yes.
So we can't make mistakes. We don't have time. We have to finish.
Inshallah, you won't make mistakes. I will, this presentation, I will share it with you all, inshallah. And we'll give you access to my number. I won't be going, so I'll give you access to my number, WhatsApp. Anyone has any questions, you have to ask. You know, this is not a place to do educated guesses.
We're going to wake you up.
It's okay, inshallah. Yes.
On the 12 month, level 12, the Rami for Jamarat is not needed to be on state of Ihram, right?
No. No. The only Rami that you're going to do is the first one. Now, if they did not do your dhibh for you, then you're still in the state of Ihram. But you should try to, this is something I can't help you with. You have to figure out a group or someone that will do it for you. Of course, over there they write, there's like the government over there, they'll tell you will do it, but that one I wouldn't trust because
There is, they call it Qurbani.
Qurbani, yes.
It's part of the package, but you can't trust them because you don't
Yeah.
know when they do
And the other thing is the udhiyah, 1/3 of it you give it to the poor. 1/3 of it you could eat it, and 1/3 you give it to your friends. Now your part, you say, okay, I don't want that part. And your friend, you find someone, you tell him, I'm gonna give it to you, but you give up the haqq on it. But the poor, that's 1/3 of the value that you're giving. You need to find you a poor person, you give him sadaqah after as well, because you don't have access to the meat.
Technically, on 11th also, you cannot depart Mina without halaq. You cannot depart it, right?
Yes.
You cannot.
Yes. Oh, and all of the halq has to be done in Mina.
Itself, yes.
So you can't leave and then they call you, they say we slaughtered, and then you do it. No, you have to do it over there. Yeah. So if you left because the call was late and you had to go to the hotel, then you come back the next day to do the halq and you're still in the state of ihram. Yes.
Take a trimmer with you, right? A battery one. You just do it.
Yeah, you could do, yeah.
So is it like to shave the whole thing or just to cut like?
In the Umrah al-Tamattu, you have to you do taqsir.
No, in Mina.
And for the Hajj, in most cases you have to shave. Now, if some people they have an exception. Some people, I don't know, they follow their some maraja, they say that if you don't need, you could do the taqsir might be enough. But it's mustahab to do get rid of the whole thing, yeah.
Using a razor?
You're already married, you don't need to worry about it, Hajj. Yes.
I'm in ihram 24/7.
Yeah.
Sayyid, what are the boundaries of Masjid al-Haram? You said a lady can go do sa'i but not enter Masjid al-Haram.
Yes.
So what are the boundaries and how do we have access to the,
So the mas'a, you know it's not inside. There's a door. You know you're in the mas'a. There's like a wall between them. But when you enter into Masjid al-Haram, you'll know you're in the masjid now. Yes. Outside, you're not in the masjid. And so, once you enter the wall of the masjid, then you know you're in the masjid. It's something you have to be there to know, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Jama'ah prayer. So you could pray mutaba'ah, meaning you follow along with them, but your intention should be that you're doing mutaba'ah, you're not praying jama'ah. You follow along and you get the thawab of jama'ah, but you need to recite the Fatiha and the other surah. Yes. Yes. Okay. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد